Assalamu alaikum students. Once again, I welcome you all to my YouTube video class. This class is a continuation of previous session. In the previous session, we have learned what is EDI, brief history of EDI and 5 different types of EDI. In today's session, we will be learning about advantages of EDI, EDI Layers, EDI Components and EDI Standards, and also we will be learning about EDI format called UN or EDIFACT, which is the popular format. So these are the topics to be covered in this session. The first one is advantages of EDI. Before we get into the topic, let us see what is EDI. The electronic data interchange, EDI, is the exchange of business documents between one trade partner and another electronically. This is what EDI. Now let us see the advantages of EDI. The first advantage is improving service to end users. Who are the end users? Customers. That is the person who is using the EDI system, right? The second advantage is increasing productivity. So it will increase the productivity to the company. And the third one is minimizing errors, which means once the data are entered or registered, we don't want to retype. So errors will be less. And the fourth advantage is slashing response times, which means reducing the response time. Suppose if you are sending purchase order, immediately you will get invoice. So that is called slashing or reducing response time. The next one is automation of operation. All the operation like purchase order, invoice bill and sending the products, delivering the products. So everything is automated. So all these things comes under automation of operations. The next one is cutting cost. Cutting cost for the company, that is, it reduces the paper cost. Within the fraction of second, your purchase order is placed and also the fraction of second your invoice is being delivered and the fractions of second you are confirming your order. So everything is done within the fraction of time. So cost is very less. The next one is integrating all business and trading partners under one roof called EDI. So wherever they are, anywhere in the world, the order can be placed and can be communicated the particular organization. The next one is providing information on process status like purchase order status, delivery status. So particular order can be tracked easily. And the last one is optimizing financial ratios, that is improving the financial shares. So EDI was developed to solve the problems inherent in paper-based transaction processing and in another form of electronic communication. Implementing EDI system offers a company greater control over its supply chain and allow it to trade more effectively. It also increases productivity and promotes operational efficiency. So these are the advantages of EDI. Now we will move on to the next topic, that is EDI Layers. Electronic data interchange architecture specifies 4 different layers, namely semantic layer, standards translation layer, transport layer and physical layer. Already we have learnt TCP/IP protocols, OSI model layers. I hope you remember that, isn't it? Similarly, in EDI, 4 layers are used and protocols for security. Usually, we will see the layers from bottom to top, isn't it? So, in physical layer, as you can see, it refers to the dial-up line, internet and IV. Nowadays, we are not using dial-up line and IV. We are using only internet. So, internet is the basic necessity for doing an EDI. Here, the physical layers refers to the internet connection, and nowadays we are not using dial-up lines and highways. Highway is nothing but like BSNL company that uses satellite for internet connection. And the next one is EDI transport layer. So transport layer refers to the protocols like for World Wide Web HTTP hypertext transfer protocol. For point to point, it uses file transfer protocol, telnet protocol, and then for electronic mail transfer, it uses X.435 MIME, etc. So, what type of communication method we are going to use depends on the transport layer. And then the second layer is standards translation layer. We learned earlier that there are two famous standards of EDI format. One is EDIFACT and the other one is ANSI X12. So, companies can use either EDIFACT or ANSI X12. Although EDIFACT is mostly used, there are few companies that still uses ANSI X12 standard. So, you have to decide for your company which standard to use. And the first layer is the semantic layer. This refers to the application, that is software. For example, for word processing software, we will use MS Word, right? Similarly, for EDI, you have to use EDI software. That refers to the semantic layer. So, these are the 4 EDI layers. The first one, semantic layer. Second one, standards translation layer. Third one, transport layer. And the fourth one is physical layer. The next one is EDI components. There are 4 major components of EDI. They are standard document format, translator and mapper, communication software, and communication network. The first one is standard document format. Just now I said standard format. Either you can use EDIFACT or you can use ANSI X12 standard. And the second one is translator and mapper. Supposing if one company uses EDIFACT and the other company uses ANSI, it must be translated accordingly because both of them have different types of directories. So, it must be translated and mapped according to the format that the company uses. So, you need separate software for that as well. And then the third one is communication software. It refers to the EDI software. And the last one is communication network. It refers to internet. So, you need these 4 components for electronic data interchange. Supposing if you have to do electronic data interchange for your company for online transaction, online business or trading, then you have to choose a popular format. Either it is a EDIFACT or ANSI X12, and there should be suitable translator. We can also place orders between different business organizations, isn't it? So that may have different ANSI or EDIFACT standards. So your software must also map all that, translate accordingly and map all that. And basically you need a EDI software, that is electronic data interchange software, and you also need a communication network, that is internet. So these all about the EDI components. Now we will move on to the EDI standards. So EDI standard is the most critical part of the entire EDI. So far we have learnt about EDIFACT and ANSI X12. Since EDI is the data transmission and information exchange in the form of an agreed message format, it is important to develop a unified EDI standard as it is used worldwide. The EDI standard is mainly divided into the following aspects: basic standard, code standards, message standards, that is message delivered standards. Standards is nothing but format. Document standards, management standards, application standards, that is what software we are using, that software standard, then communication standards and security standards. So, based on all these aspects, EDI standards are given. So, that's why we have two main types of EDI standard, that is EDIFACT and ANSI X12. Here you can see the history of EDI. The first industry specific EDI standard was the TDCC. Already we have learned this in history of EDI. So TDCC was published by Transportation Data Coordinating Committee in the year 1975. Then other industries are also started developing unique standards based on their individual needs. Since the application of EDI has become more mature, the target of trading operation is often not limited to a single industry. So, all industries are started to adopt the EDI standard because EDI seemed to be more convenient and popular standard across the world. So, many different companies are started to use EDI standards. In 1979, the American National Standards Institute Accredited Standard Committee ANSI, they developed a ANSI X12 and still it is in use. On the other hand, the European region has also developed an integrated EDI standard and they named it as GTDI. GTDI stands for Guideline for Trade Data Interchange. ANSI X12 and GTDI have become the two regional EDI standards in North America and Europe respectively. ANSI X12 for America and GTDI for other European countries. After the development of the two major regional EDI standards and a few years after trial, the researchers decided to integrate that two standards together and form a common EDI standards. Subsequently, the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe hosted the task of the development of international EDI standards. So, in 1986, UN or EDIFACT is officially proposed. So, the most widely used EDI message standards are the United Nations EDIFACT and the ANSI X12. Now, we will move on to United Nations EDIFACT, that is UN EDIFACT. This is the most popularly used EDI format. United Nations Electronic Data Interchange for Administration, Commerce and Transport. This is an expansion for UN EDIFACT. So, the UN stands for United Nations and EDI stands for Electronic Data Interchange and FACT stands for Administration, Commerce and Transport. It is an international EDI standard developed under the supervision of the United Nations. In 1987, the UN EDIFACT syntax rules were developed and it is approved by ISO. ISO stands for International Organization for Standardization. Because ISO certification is necessary. So, the ISO certification is ISO 9735 standard by the International Organization for Standardization. EDIFACT includes a set of internationally agreed standards, catalogs, and guidelines for electronic exchange of structured data between independent computer systems. It is a cross-industry standard data format of electronic data for commercial transaction. It is a cross-industry standard. So, there is no need to place the order between the two common industry. So, we can place the order between the cross-industry also. For example, you may be the manufacturing of bike company and you may want to order some raw materials from another company. So, that may be available at any place around the world and may belong to any other industry. So, it is a cross-industry standard data format of electronic data for commercial transaction. Then maintenance and further development of these standards goes through the UNCEFACT, that is United Nations Center for Trade Facilitation and Electronic Business, which is affiliated to the UNECE, that is United Nations Economic Commission for Europe. You can see the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe. So this is the website of UNECE. Now we will move on to the next topic, that is EDIFACT directories. Just now I told you EDIFACT is the EDI standard and it is widely used across the world. Usually we will say the versions, right? Version 1.0, version 2.0. Likewise in EDIFACT the versions are also called as directories. These EDIFACT directories will be revised twice a year. So, the EDIFACT directories will be updated or revised twice in a year. And it is based on the number of companies, number of industries that join EDI. So, the EDIFACT directories will be revised on 1st April and 1st October to include new or update existing EDIFACT messages. EDIFACT directories have names like D.18b. So the version or directories have names like D.18b. D stands for directory and 18 is the year and A or B indicates the month of release. So A for April and B for October. Now we will move on to EDIFACT subsets. Due to the complexity, branch-specific subsets of EDIFACT have developed. So, varieties of industries are there in the world like shipping, clothing, manufacturing. So, there are different types of materials that are manufactured in each and every company. So, based on that industries, many subsets were developed. These subsets of EDIFACT include only the related information about that industry. Okay, so the subsets of EDIFACT include only the functions relevant to specific user groups. So look at this example. Chemical industry is denoted by CEFIC. So it consists of only the chemical information. Okay, then furniture industry is denoted by EDIFAN. Then gas business is denoted by EDI gas. So this is all about EDIFACT subsets. Now we will move on to EDIFACT structure. This is the hierarchical structure for any EDIFACT message. EDIFACT is a hierarchical structure where the top level is referred to as an interchange and lower levels contains multiple messages. So this is the hierarchical structure. Top level refers to an interchange and lower levels contains multiple messages. I think you will be clear once you see the EDIFACT message. Look at this. This is an EDIFACT message for container discharge or loading report. So Chennai container terminal. They will use this type of EDIFACT message and this is entirely different. But this is worldwide accepted standard format for container discharge and loading report. Just look at the 3-letter words for each line and each one has some meaning. This will be little difficult for the others who doesn't know about EDIFACT deeply. So this is called EDIFACT message. Now we will move back to EDIFACT structure. So EDIFACT is a hierarchical structure where the top level is referred to as an interchange and the lower levels contains multiple messages. The messages consist of segments. So all the messages will be consist of some segments which in turn consist of composites. The final iteration is a data element. So the final iteration is a data element. Now the next one is EDIFACT structure segment tables. So the segment tables consist of message tags. Just now we have seen EDIFACT message, isn't it? Each line consists of 3 letters word. So that is the message tags. Okay. So what are the message tags will be there in EDIFACT message? They have given you some message structure here in the segment tables. Segment table lists the message tags. It contains the tags, tag names, requirement designator and repetition field. The requirement designator may be mandatory M or conditional C. Here they have given position, tag, name, requirement and a repetition. The M denotes that the segment must appear at least once, and the C, conditional C, denotes that the segment may be used if needed. Here they have given you some message tags like UNH, USC, USX, USF, USA, etc. Okay, and the segments like 1, 2, 3, etc. So this is the segment tables and this is the UN EDIFACT message structure. Here the highest level is the interchange. So what are the message tags will be used in interchange means UNB or UNZ, and the next one is functional group. So the piece of data between segments like UNG or UNE. UN is always stands for United Nations and each one has a different meaning. Though it is not explained it fully in this lesson, just you understand the point of using it. So functional group is further divided into messages, and the message is further divided into segment groups, that is block of related data, and it will be divided into segments, that is mixture of simple and composite elements. And here the composite means one or two elements put together, that is group. Okay, and it will be divided into composite elements, that is group of related simple elements. Okay, composite elements means group of related simple elements, and the next one is simple data elements, that is piece of single data. So simple data elements is the lowest level. Okay, now we will move on to EDI interchange. Interchange is also called as envelope. Look at this table. The top level of EDIFACT structure is interchange. That is highest level of EDIFACT structure is interchange. And interchange may contain multiple messages. It starts with UNB and it ends with UNZ. The next one is EDIFACT message. The basic standardization concept of EDIFACT is that there are uniform message types. So when you take and see any EDIFACT messages, it has UNB and UNZ. So the EDIFACT message starts with UNB and ends with UNZ, and inside that you will have a UNH and UNT. So these are generally called as United Nations Standard message, that is UNSM. And just now we have seen EDIFACT subsets, right? The subsets of EDIFACT includes only the relevant informations or relevant messages about the particular industry. So the message types can be specified deeper in their characteristics depending on the sector. So each subset has some message, and that message have exactly one nickname consisting of 6 uppercase English alphabets. The message begins with UNH and ends with UNT. Here they have given some example messages, service messages and data exchange. For service messages, to confirm or reject a message, control and CONTRL and APERAK messages are sent. So CONTRL means this is a syntax check and confirmation of arrival of messages. Okay. The next one is APERAK, that is technical error messages and acknowledgement. The next one is data exchange. So for data exchange they will use these 3 types of messages like CREMUL for multiple credit advice, and DELFOR for delivery forecast, and IFTMBC or booking confirmation. And the next one is EDIFACT segment. So EDIFACT segment is the subset of message. A segment is a 3-character alphanumeric code. These segments are listed in segment tables. So just now we have seen a 3-letter word like UNA, UNH, etc. in segment table, right? So that segment may contain one or several related uses data elements. The next one is EDIFACT elements. The elements are the piece of actual data. So, these data elements may be either simple or composite. So, composite means one or two elements put together to make a group, that is group, okay. And the next one is EDI separators. EDIFACT has the following punctuation marks that are used as standard separators. So, these are the EDI separators, character and uses. First one is apostrophe. It is used as segment terminator. All the lines of EDIFACT messages or ends with apostrophe. So this is called segment terminator. And the second one is plus sign. The symbol is plus. It is used as segment tag and data element separator. When you have more than one element, you can use plus sign. Okay, plus sign will be used there. And this is called the segment tag and data element separator. And the next one is colon, that is component data element separator. Actually, this is composite data element separator. Okay. And the next one is question mark. It will be used as release characters. And the last one is period, that is dot, decimal point. Just you see this EDIFACT message. It consists of all the punctuation marks. And see here, all the lines are end with apostrophe and all the lines have plus sign between the tag, that is 3-letter word. So it can be used as segment tag and data element separator. And also you can see the colon symbol, that is a composite data element separator, and somewhere you can see a question mark. It is used for release character and the point, decimal point whenever necessary. So they can use decimal point. So this is an example of EDIFACT message. Students, this lesson ends here. I hope you understood this lesson. Computer application portions are completed. So you have to start learn. The assignment of this lesson is what are the advantages of EDI? Submit your assignment on time. Thank you for watching this video. Assalamu alaikum.